Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Winners Bracket Round 4 of the Season 2 Invitational of the Eternal Tournament Series. We're going to be jumping into our last Winners match, or our Winners Bracket game, before Winners Finals. We are going to be seeing Loco Pojo on his Stone Scar Maulers list against Bobbert Joe on his Shimmering Combri.
Yeah, so Bobber Joe's opening hand here looks like a train wreck until you see that find the way and realize that everything is working out perfectly.
Yeah, looking like he's going to be short on influence, but he's actually not. And he has these initiates to very quickly ramp him into being able to cast these find the ways and actually be able to play the depleted power and not be too worried about it.
Yeah, just another demonstration of how powerful Find the Way is. It just enables so many decks.
Yeah, it really does. And are these the first initiative of the Sands we're seeing of the tournament?
Yes, Bobber Joe is the only Shimmering Cambrai player playing Initiative Sands. Toth did not have any copies of that card in his deck.
Yeah, and we saw no Shimmer Pack decks themselves, no pure Shimmer with the recent nerf. So nobody really rocking the initiative of the Sands this time around.
Yeah, so Loco Pojo's hand was all removal spells, which is not where you want to be against a Shimmer Pack deck with overwhelming late game. But then he fortunately drew this Champion of Chaos, so he's going to be able to put some pressure on, backed up by removal. And that's really how this deck wins.
Yeah, and now that this Champion of Chaos is all the way up to a 5/5, like this is going to be really hard. And look about him actually opting to torch the initiate, just trying to stall Bobbert out. Hopefully, hoping that like he's lacking high aggressive units there. Kind of actually interesting out of Pojo to see the torch there. I'm not sure I would have torched the initiate on that turn, since you can imagine that Bobbert will be able to play a 4-drop on his very next turn.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And Loco also chooses to attack here, offering to trade at the Titan instead of waiting a turn to Flame Blast that Titan. So now Pojo's going to need to draw another unit threat for recurring damage.
Yeah, this is starting to look a little dicey for Pojo. Like he's got the ability to get he's got the ability to flame blast, but he doesn't have any other cards. And Bobber Joe, on the other hand, he can afford to now just kind of take this slow, get his Xenon into play next turn, keep drawing his power. And meanwhile, yeah, Pojo's just going to be drawing power and passing.
Yeah, so what is it going to take for Pojo to win this game? He needs some sort of smuggler stash,
Oh,
maybe?
oh, subvert the Seraph. Let's see it. Ooh, not
Oh,
quite.
it's a depleted sigil. Throwing out the oops.
Oh man, that was a 1-4. That was a 1-4 for Pojo to actually have a way to take this game back. Like if he had hit that Seraph, that would have been the
Yeah, he
exact
would have
card.
been able to activate on his very next turn and start giving Bobber Joe a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, look at Pojo seeing the Seraph come down. Does pick up a Champion of Chaos for himself, and yeah, he's gonna fire off and kill the Seraph before he can activate. And all of a sudden this isn't looking too terrible. Bobber Joe, until Bobber Joe finds the scouting party. Now that he has 8 power and all these units are a lot bigger, this is already presenting a problem for Pojo. But with 4/3/3 Yetis coming down, this is going to be basically unbeatable.
Yeah, I think even after the suffocate, this is still lethal.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pojo is going to be taking 15 damage next turn, even if he blocks the largest, the Amber Acolyte. So we're going to be going to game 2 here shortly if Bobber Joe hits the A button.
oh yeah, and he finds the
Oh,
second Xenon Obelisk
the
just to
overkill obelisk.
just to bring it on home. So Pojo going down very quickly in that game, actually. Just some unfortunate draws. The Stone Scar Mauler's deck not looking to get to 9 power. Definitely not that quickly.
Yeah, it also was a shame that Subvert, normally a great late game card that 2 for 1s your opponent by stealing a good spell out of their hand, just took a depleted power instead of something that Bobbert was counting on.
Yeah, and go into these players' sideboard plans. So I'm curious to see what Pojo feels like he's going to need to do to take this game back. We already see some Plague coming in. Definitely going to bring in those to help try and handle like the small units, and that's definitely a lot more useful in against Bobbert's deck specifically. Like we just saw a Shimmering Combri list out of Toth, but Bobbert's Shimmering Combri list is a lot closer to like a Shimmer pack type deck. Like you have the 4 Amber Acolytes, you have the Talir's Favored, you have the Storm Lynxes, the Desert Marshals, the Initiate of the Sands, the Temple Scribes, and all of this is much, much worse against those plagues. Though we do see Bobbert himself actually electing to pull out most of his early game units.
Yeah, perhaps for fear of plague. I think that this matchup gets a lot better for Loco Pojo post board. He gets to put in a bunch of ruins for the permafrost and Xenon obelisks. He gets to take out his suffocates that don't have many good targets. And he gets to put in Statuary Maiden and Soulfire Drake, which are both really tough units for Shimmer Pack decks to deal with.
Yeah, he gets to pull out Voprex and get rid of that mistake. Gets to actually on that's actually really the tech behind Pojo going to the board is like his sideboard plan is that he gets to take out the one really bad card he put in, so he actually gets to just add a free card in that helps his matchup. It's some interesting tech. I would recommend that you all players try it out at least once. Check it out. Ooh, we see see Bobbert playing with the new totem. Yeah, has anybody gotten the Argenport totem? Have you gotten the Argenport totem, Ace?
I have not. I've thought about it. I have a few extra gems lying around, and I won't say that I haven't been tempted.
It does look really sweet. I'm excited for us to get some more later on.
Where's my Feln totem?
Oh yeah, for real. Like as soon as we get the Feln one, man, I'm all over it.
Yeah. So looking at Bobbert's sideboard, he has a Vanquish, which is definitely great here. Like you definitely want 4 Vanquish against the Stone Scar decks of all varieties. He has a couple of stand-togethers, perhaps, but those don't stop Stone Scar Maul or units trading in combat. So I'm not sure if he wants the 3rd and 4th copy of that.
Yeah, not really. And that's actually an interesting point that you raise as well. Is that a lot of those like lesser 1-drops and like 2-drops that Bobbert Joe pulled out, the Temple Scribes and the Initiative of the Sands, they interact very poorly rather with Loco Pojo's Stone Scar Mauls. Like he can easily kill the 1/1s and then run 5 damage through the face, and it becomes like almost a pseudo obliterate.
Yeah. So looking at their hands here for game 2, Bobbert Joe is missing Primal Influence. Well, okay, so he drew a Huro Banner, and now he has it. But the interesting thing about it is that he brought in these Storm Lynxes.
Yeah, and he did bring in the Storm Lynxes to think his game plan here is that he pulled out like the Scribes and the Initiates, like some of the worst 1/1s, and basically just said like I want to pressure you here. But unfortunately, not going to be working out very good against Pojo. Like Pojo's already able to get down a Steward of the Past, and this is already the scariest unit that's probably going to be on this board for quite a while.
Yeah. So aside from Permafrost, Bobbert Joe's removal is Shimmer Pack as pseudo removal and Vanquish. So if he doesn't find one of those 3 Permafrost, doesn't have a way to deal with this Steward.
Yeah,
or the Statuary Maiden.
Yeah, very true. Like the Statuary Maiden is looking scary right now. He's got the Desert Marshal. Like he can just silence both of them, but at the same time, like the 3/5 and 2/4 still represent the biggest bodies on the board.
Yeah, those cards are fine. Well, the Maiden less so, but like Steward, even as just a 3/5, is a fine unit.
Yeah, very true. Like the 3/5 in this matchup, especially, like it will just punch through a lot of units. We see Bobbert Joe did pick up a Sandstorm Titan there, so he does have something to play next turn, but we also know that Pojo has these obliterates that he'll be able to fire off into it. And in the meantime, he should just be able to keep picking away with this 3 damage out of the Steward of the Past.
Yeah, with 2 obliterates and a Flame Blast, and a ruin so that they can't get out of range of those with a Xenon Obelisk, I think that Pojo is going to be able to just bash through all of these tiny units.
Yeah, it is true. Like I said he might obliterate the Sandstorm Titan, and it's very likely that he will, but it is also possible that he could just go some combination of like, I'll swing in with the 3/5 now, then you're at 16, I'll go obliterate for 6, Flame Blast for 6, 18, done. Or Umbran Reaper even. Getting the Umbran Reaper down, and now that the silence has come off, like...
Yes. So with Bobbert Joe killing this with the silence plus stand together, like killing the Steward of the Past, I think that Pojo might go for the just burn face plan here. Like he does have 19 points of burn.
Yeah, very true. Like I think this plan is going to get cemented pretty well here. Bobbert's going to go full on aggressive here, which he should. And Pojo's going to block here. He's going to lose 12 health, but gain 5 back. So he only loses 7. And meanwhile, Bobbert goes down to... That should take him down to 14. And Pojo's got obliterate and 2 obliterates and a flame blast. So yeah, it looks like we're on the straight damage game plan now.
Yeah, I'm thinking obliterate, attack face, ruin. Oh, he doesn't attack face, so he doesn't have lethal with obliterate next turn now.
Yeah,
But the ruin will keep him alive and allow the statue maiden to eat up one of the 2-1s from Bauer Joe.
yeah, very true.
Or 3-2s rather, 3-2s because of staying together.
Yeah, and that does importantly, not only does he get the trade there, but that does bring the amount of damage he was going to soak that turn down by a significant bit, and should allow him to just close out this game over the course of 3 turns with the burn. So first turn's gone by, we see turn 2 here. His choice of obliterate or flame blast. And
So is he dead if he just obliterates face? He can block and take 8, so he's okay. So despite the fact that he didn't attack with that maiden last turn, I think that Pojo will still be able to burn out Bobber Joe in this game.
yeah, well, Bobber Joe's more than likely not playing any health gain in his deck, so I think you're actually completely safe here if you want to just throw this obliterate into the Seraph, knowing that next turn you have 6 damage out of Flame Blast.
Yeah, or even play Champion of Chaos plus Flame Blast face to bring Bobber Joe into obliterate range next turn. But you have to obliterate the 2-1, giving 5 overwhelm damage into Bobber Joe's face.
Yeah, very true. And Bobber Joe trying to figure out how he gets out of this situation now. He doesn't know he's dead, but he does recognize he's dead to a lot of Pojo's burn and weapons. And considering whether or not he wants to play the scouting party, does get the units down. And we are going to see Pojo just go ahead and close out this game too. So he answers back very quickly. His sideboard game plan seemed to work out very well for him, being able to bring in like some more of the deadly units, the Statuary Maidens, the Steward of the Past, and he went with like the more traditional, like I guess what we classify Maulers for is like the burn strategy. Like he was able to use take advantage of the 2 obliterates and the flame blast to essentially take his opponent all the way down from 20, and like the Umbran Reaper works out in a lot of matches just like we saw it there, where it just acts as a 5-1 that's going to eat a unit on your opponent's side, and it's going to act like a burn spell. Like that's really what it's there for, is it's there for the burn.
Yeah, that's just a textbook Stone Scar burn game, really. You play some early units and try to pressure, but once the board gets locked up and you can't attack anymore, you just point burn spells at the dome. And I'm counting the Umbran Reapers and Tomb Effects. Pojo was able to burn Boward out from 19 there.
Yeah, he was able to burn him from 19, and like you didn't even need to push damage, and like that's what makes Stone Scar Maulers and Stone Scar Burn such like scary decks, is that you really can be at what you would consider to be a high or like a safe health total, and their board looks to be very minimal. In that case, it was just a silence 2/4, and out of nowhere, like it's so easy for Logo Pojo to just find 20 damage.
Yep, so Pojo's going to have to redraw his hand for this game, and Bobber Joe is missing time. He's going to have to redraw as well. So both players are kind of at the mercy of their draws here. Oh, Bobber Joe with a Combrite Healer. Very, very good card against Stone Scar Burn. It's 3 health, a good blocker, and just like can pump any unit to possibly put it out of burn spell range.
Yeah, it is a very nice card, though Bobber Joe is lacking the justice to actually get it into play. On Pojo's side, however, he has smoothed out his draw steps, and he's going to have this Champion of Chaos, and Bobber Joe picking up a very timely Find the Way.
Find the Way continues to prove itself.
Yeah, Bobber Joe would have been absolutely wrecked in this game if he had not got that Find the Way right there, or a Justice Sigil. It
So
just made all the difference.
We see a decay from Bobber Joe here, and what? Oh, I suppose that's there for the Stone Scar Mauls.
Yeah.
For a second there, I was thinking Pojo didn't have any relics. Forgot about the name of his deck.
Yeah, he does have the Stone Scar Mauls. And does Pojo play Charchain Flail in the main or side?
Yeah, he has some Charchain Flails, but I would imagine he took them out in this matchup. They're not very good against the parade of 1/1s.
Yeah, true. Not nearly as good. Although, since Bobber Joe did kind of convert from the parade of 1/1s, maybe he's thinking of accounting for that. We will see, though. Pojo with a nice Suffocate here to take care of the Combri Healer. Unfortunately, though, he won't be able to establish another threat this turn, but he is looking to push this early damage with the Argenport Instigator.
Yeah, he wants to attack and do some damage now while holding up Annihilate for possible Sandstorm Titans instead of getting down the Statuary Maiden and starting to accrue cudgels.
Ooh, and Bobber Joe picks up the Scouting Party. This is a really crucial card for this matchup. Bobber Joe really wants to find those Scouting Parties. We do see Loco Pojo with the Ruin, though, and that's going to make a huge difference here. Those scouting party tokens being 1/1s instead of 2/2s, it's going to be huge here. Like we're going to see probably almost all of them die, not really getting any damage. Bobbert Joe lost his ability to start threatening the board with the Lion and the Favored.
Yeah,
And
it was just a big tempo swing too, because Pojo was able to play 2 cards on his turn 4 and both negate Bobber Joe's play and kill his play from the last turn. Just a big tempo positive move.
yeah, and this I think is super interesting here. Instead of getting the Statuary Maiden down and accepting that one of those tokens might get through and draw a card, we see Loco actually opt to suffocate one of them, holding Annihilate and Flame Blast still to probably pick up the other one. So he's going to try and force Bobber not to draw any cards, or
Yeah,
or he will force the damage through.
Pojo's just on the full control plan, it looks like. Just wants to trim down on Bobber Joe's draws and just chip away at him over time instead of going for big Umbran Reaper swings. Or Statuary Maiden swings, rather.
Yeah, very true. And we do see him just getting picked off, and like he is getting little bits of damage through on this turn. Like he has already managed to at least get 3 damage through. And Pojo considering throwing the Flame Blast to the other token and elects to do it. Wow. 3
so
removal
that means
spells
that
for 3
scouting
tokens.
party was a 3-for-1 already and still left a Yeti back. So though Bobber Joe was behind on the board and on health, the card advantage is going way his way after that scouting party.
Yeah, the card advantage is gone on his way a lot. We do see the 2 decays on the other side though, and those are interesting cards. They will at least interact with the cudgels, but they are kind of just floating around dead in his hand for the most part. And
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with bringing in these decays. Like, there's just not a whole lot of targets, and like I know you want the health gain, but there's just a large risk of a situation like this happening where they just don't do anything.
yeah, maybe he brought in too many. I'm not sure how many he brought in. I think it was like 3. So just kind of unlucky that he drew all of them here. Bobbert Joe wisely trying to take out the Argenport Instigator so that we don't see those triggers keep stacking up.
Yeah, so I guess Bobber Joe has the potential for a decay blowout if Loco Pojo is depending on a Stone Cudgel Pump for his attack next turn.
Yeah, and we find ourselves in a very interesting board state here where Pojo can honestly, like, he can attack here and force some damage through, and he can also just play defensively if he really wants to and get the Umbran Reaper down. Umbran Reaper is going to put in a lot of work here. Bobber Joe doesn't currently have any way to interact with a flying unit, and even if he did, unless it's permafrost to lock it down, this Umbran Reaper is going to be hitting him for 5, providing that source of burn we were talking about.
Yeah, I almost like just playing the Reaper and putting the Cudgel on it for the 2-turn clock in the air while holding back your deadly guys for the ground. But, I mean, this line still puts a ton of pressure on Bobber Joe, and Pojo is still way ahead either way.
Yeah, he is way ahead. I think a lot of that goes back to that one turn where he decided to 3-for-1 himself. Like as weird as it was, it ended up working out very well for him, being able to take care of all the Yetis and still pushing damage through. I mean, he still managed to get 6 damage off in one turn, and like he's kind of never really let up on the persistent aggression.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how pretty this premium Voprex the Great Ruin is?
Yeah, I really hope he opened that.
Is
I
that...
really hope he did not craft that. That might be one of the prettiest legendaries, and this will be the only time anybody ever gets to see it.
just seeing that animation, I can see why Pojo put the card in his deck. It's just so sweet.
Yeah. I did get word from upstairs that Pojo did craft the Voprex just for this tournament. So he was clearly having a lot of faith in this card. Why? I'm not entirely sure. But Pojo is also a much better player than me, so I'll take his word for it.
All right, and with the addition of that Umbran Reaper to the board, Bobber Joe is done, so he's gonna drop down to the losers bracket.
Yeah, Bobbert Joe unfortunately falling there in the 3rd game, just couldn't quite get it. It was just too much. Like Pojo got on his game plan. Pojo got exactly what he needed to do. He got some units down on board that were more or less unblockable with their stat line and the death touch. He started pushing through the incremental damage, and it just added up very quickly. Like he was able to essentially just run him over.
Yeah, we were talking about cards that are good against Shimmer Pack earlier, being like cheap flyers that can fly over other tokens and like Statuary Maiden to turn all those small units into cudgels. But like Argent Instigator is another one that's very good against Shimmer Pack. Like it just beats all of the Shimmer Pack units until turn 4 or 5, and whenever they multi-block to trade all those little units, they just take a bunch of just chip damage from Argent Instigator effect.
Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately, nothing too exciting there at the end. It was more or less pretty cut and dry. I think Bobber just had like a slow hand. Like he had the double decay. He didn't really have any. He didn't have any units on board doing anything. Like no Seraphs down, no Sandstorm Titans, nothing to really put up a fight there. So it's just kind of unfortunate for him. So he will fall down to the losers bracket where he will be playing Kampf in the next round. At this point, I think we are going to transition down to the losers bracket. We'll be leading off with, I want to say, Sir Rhino playing against Toth 201. So yeah, we're going to get